Hi everybody, I decided to make this video about model of Traxxas Slash, which I have in my RC collection, and about upgrades and tuning that I made with it. This video mostly for those folks who also has a Slash and who does not use it just for bashing, but tries to race with it. Before all, I would say that whether you don't like the Traxxas by principle or you think that it's not meant to be raced with, for those I think you could just stop watching this video right away, because you won't probably like it anyway. Perhaps I won't be mentioning why did I purchase this particular model. I'd rather say that it has happened because it happened. So I bought brand new platinum version of this kit, which already comes with LTG chassis plate, and after that I started to think about what can I do with it to make it be more qualified for racing. First of all, of course, I read a lot of forums, watched many videos and spoke to other folks who also had or previously had a Slash, and I was searching for their advices about the tuning for this model. And I've chosen a number of parts that I will be installing upon my Slash. So the first ones are drive shafts. Here I picked up MIP race duty drive shafts, both for the rear and the front, as you can see here. This choice has been done not that easily actually, because I wasn't sure whether to get MIPs or Techno ones, and the only reason MIPs was in favor is because by installing Technos I had to swap knuckles for plastic ones, and since Platinum version does have aluminum ones, I did not want to get rid of them. Maybe that was a mistake, maybe not, but so far those work for me just fine, except some issues that I had with them in the beginning. For example, I had to sand down outer pieces for each shaft to make the steering angle as wide as possible. This in fact is not a big deal overall. The next part I've installed upon this truck is the rear bumper. It's actually from RPM. And it is because there is an easy way to install mud flaps, which are required by our national racing competition rules for outdoor tracks. Let's go further, and here it goes, the other part, which is the rear shock tower. I decided to swap the stock one for aluminum, because when I installed MIP drive shafts, they started to pop out during landing from big jumps. It was because when the chassis hits the ground, wheel goes above upper travel limit, and since the stock shock tower could bend for a certain amount, the half shaft just popped out easily. After I installed an aluminum shock tower, I didn't see my shafts popping out anymore. Here are a few more parts I would recommend to install upon the Slash. It's the adjustable body mounts and the front shock guards. The body mounts are from Proline, and the guards from Traxxas Stampede actually. Those body mounts I'm using because it's quite convenient to adjust the height of them for different body shells, and front shock guards are doing a good job not just preventing mud from being stuck upon the shock shaft, but also covers it from being hit on a rock or something during bad landing. And if you take a closer look, you may see that there are a lot of scratches and deformations upon the guards, so that actually means that all hits from rocks or sticking out track armature were taken by guards, not by the shock themselves. So that would probably it about the parts I've installed on this particular model. And now let's see what issues I had during the time I had this Slash, And just for the info, I do own this model for about one year and a half. So issues I faced with were quite common for the Slash, and probably everyone who has the same model knows what those are. I guess I'll just start with the less important issue, and I will continue with more important ones. The first problem, it is weight balance and its adjustment. Taking into account that the whole chassis with body shell and battery installed weighs almost 2900 grams in my setup, it's hard to adjust the balance between front and rear for different tracks and setups. It is because of the configuration of the chassis itself. The only possible thing here is to slightly adjust the battery position, so you can quite easily move it a bit to the rear or front, but not that much. So it is the only and one adjustable thing which you can use on this model to manage the weight balance. Of course, one more option would be also is to move this receiver box up on the front, so it will be right behind the front shock tower. It's convenient to try to move more weight to the front on this model, because in the current setup there is more weight up on the rear side of the chassis than the front. And it is because there are plenty of stuff designed to be on the rear side, like transmission, motor mount, and the motor itself. Also, there is a space in the front where nothing but bell crank there, and even servo is moved a bit farther from the front for like about 10 centimeters. The second more important issue I had trouble with is a lot of play in between all joints in suspension and steering. In the Platinum version, well, same as in Ultimate, where there are aluminum knuckles and caster block, and as the time goes they start to lose tightness, and it starts to feel like there is a lot of slack there. It would be easy to feel and see when you get the chassis like so and push the wheels in different directions. Look how much of play there. This is obviously a bad thing, especially for high grip tracks. It's hard to solve this particular issue actually. Sometimes it could be partially solved by adding washers. For example, like here, I removed the wheel to get a better look for you, and as you can see there's a washer where pin goes through a arm and a caster block, but actually this workaround does not solve all the slack problems. In fact, one of my friends found one tricky solution for this issue by applying conical washers in between caster block and steering knuckle, but this requires modifications of the caster block itself, which I cannot do right now, unfortunately. The next and maybe the most important issue for this chassis, in my opinion, is Understeer. There are a lot of folks out there having the same issue with the Slash as I do, and yet there are a number of ways to increase the steering by doing quite simple things. First of all, of course, if there are aluminum knuckles installed, you can use inner hole for a turnbuckle, and this will give you some extra turn angle. But unfortunately this is not usually enough. The next thing that will affect on understeering is drive shafts, and if you don't have stock ones, for example like I do MIPs, they could be the reason. It is because MIP drive shafts have very limited work angle by default, and they will prevent knuckles from turning at max angle, so you will need to send them down a little bit to extend the angle, like said before. And the third final thing that affects on understeering is the steering bell crank itself. Indeed, there is service saver inside the bell crank, which is made of pretty soft steel, so it could not hold the turning pressure under acceleration. It's hard actually to explain without seeing it, so I will better turn the model on and show you guys how does this work. So here it is, the model is turned on and you can see red light blinking on transponder. And now if I will apply small force to turn the wheel with my hands, servo will start to compensate this force like so. And if I will apply a little bit more force, then the wheel will completely turn without damaging servo. Actually, because of service saver is meant to do so. In fact, it's worth to mention that I do have a 12 kilos servo installed, so it should hold up to 12 kilos force without any breakage, but I can turn the wheel applying about 2 or 4 kilos force only, which is way too far from the capacity of the servo. And this is happening because of the service saver, which is made of very soft steel to be used for service saving action. And as you can see now, I even tried to solve this issue by adding 3mm preload for the servo spring, but it's still not enough for the potential that could be with the same servo. Nevertheless, with this 3mm preload, it is way better than without it, and I can feel increased steering quite well. Especially it feels better on high grip tracks like for example carpet. Okay, let me describe now what setup I'm currently using on my Slash. And since it is winter season right now and I'm trying to race on a carpet, the setup is made in respect for that. As for the shocks, I'm using Team Associated shock oil with 50 viscosity, both front and rear. And here it is. Rear springs are stock ones, black, and the front has blue springs with increased stiffness. Mounting spots up front are the third one from outside on bottom and the outer spot on top. The rear has the same outer spot on top and bottom mounted onto the most outer spot. As for differentials, the front and rear both filled with the differential oil 10K viscosity. Again, I am using Team Associated oils here, like this one. As for the center differential, I'm actually not using it on a carpet at this moment. Here it is. I'm using slipper clutch instead, which is installed by default on the Slash when you bite and tighten all the way down. The reason why I don't use this differential here, actually I do use it on outside tracks, though filled with oil 100K viscosity. Because 100K is not enough for the carpet in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure if I will put more stiffer oil inside there, it will just break apart during high speed and pressure. Well, at least it feels like it will break. I didn't actually try that. And the reason why I need more stiffer center diff or slipper is, well, I will try to show you this on a video from one of my training sections. But basically, when there is a straight line on the track, when you can go as fast as you can and then immediately brake and get inside the turn, so this will work like so. The chassis will lean down up to the front, and center of mass would be applied to the front wheels mostly. The rear ones will become more free and all braking force which is being applied by the motor will go for rear wheels only, and letting front ones continue rolling. This could cause serious troubles and even breakage by sliding away from the track and bouncing off track fans or even walls, like a few times happened to me at the track. I even bent this one drive shaft because of that once, so I even had to replace it because of high speed and lack of braking force by using the soft differential. And using slipper clutch, it feels more responsive to throttle brake, so it stops when I need to be stopped and throttling when I do expect to do so. The same rule applies also in case if there is a jump ahead and the current speed is very low, so it's hard to make a proper jump with soft differential when the chassis is hinted down like so to the rear, and front wheels are taking all throttling force from the motor when rear wheels simply stand still. So basically this happens when chassis simply falls down right after the jump, like so. And using slipper clutch, it is possible to make a jump even with no start speed at all, by making the wheelies and jumping right from the ramp. So what else? For the carpet I also use Proline pinpoint tires along with AKA wheels. Also use the stiffest black sway bars, both up front and rear. And that is probably it for the setup right now. If you have any thoughts, questions, comments, please feel free to post them down below. Thanks for your time, and bye bye.